Ow! Oh! Woo! Smash that!
All right, perfect.
Abdul Rashid, welcome to the Paul Pate podcast. How are you?
Doing, Paul? I am great and a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. So I've got your website up, AHR Visions, and I've been following you, admiring you from afar for a while now, because I used to live in Flint, and and so I've written a couple of written and illustrated a couple of graphic novels inspired by my time in Flint.
Excellent.
So I've been watching you just making things happen for comics, you know. The quality, I mean, is just outstanding from what I can see online. So can you tell me about them?
Yeah,
a lot of different ones.
Yeah, was there any particular one you wanted to address first?
Well, there's one that I want to address later, which is the Public Enemy one. So how about the 8? How about let's talk about the 8 first, because it looks like you can get that one.
Oh, of course. Well, one of the things I wanted to do was, obviously I've been inspired from creators like Frank Miller and Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I really enjoyed, particularly with Image, was the fact that they did something unlike, at that time it was, innovative. They broke away from Marvel and decided to create their own label and create their own ideas and projects and everything. And I really enjoyed that dynamic. And then, of course, when Milestone came out with my friend and mentor, Dwayne McDuffie, for some things that they obviously addressed, which was the diversity and the lack thereof within the industry. And my whole thing has always been about especially within the comic industry or comic, the comic platform, to have representation of everybody. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of anybody who likes me. I like who likes me. So one of the things that I wanted to do was make sure there was a representation of not just which my properties will also have our Eurocentric counterparts, but of everybody, Afrocentric, Asian, Middle Eastern, Latino, everybody. Basically, it doesn't, and so one of the things I wanted to do was create a superhero team, per se, the proverbial superhero team that is kind of like a flagship, so to speak, and then use that as a platform to also, do spin-offs and everything, since the characters are so, there are a number of characters in it. And one thing I do is I kind of do a play with the name, basically. The 8, basically, right now you only see 8 certain characters, basically, but don't necessarily get caught up in that particular name. Sometimes a name can be more than just that, than just the original concept and everything, the initial thought. So the 8 basically is our flagship superhero title. I wanted to throw that out initially so people would think about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. The 8 is basically our one of our flagship titles. It's the proverbial traditional superhero brand. Group of superheroes from different backgrounds, different lives, so to speak, who kind of have this similar dynamic together. They represent an Afrocentric diaspora, but I think people will find that it's relatable to everybody, because the thing is that I don't want to do the same thing or make the same mistake that other comic book studios have done in the past, is just reflect one perspective, and that would be wrong of me by doing the same errored formula. So again, this is just one example. This will be one example of a large diverse representation that's going to be within our comic studio. The 8 just happens to feature a predominantly Afrocentric cast, but as people will learn, that's going to be one representation of a larger universe. The 8 is basically you know, the a group of like the Avengers or Justice League, basically. Going to find that there are obviously flawed in dynamics to them and everything, which I think is going to make them a lot more relatable. You know, you're going to have a superhero that's going to be battling with his homicidal tendencies. So
nice.
He's had like a very each of them have had a checkered past, and one of them is, you know, like for all intents and purposes throughout his life and everything was, you know, for all intents and purposes and everything he was a mass murderer, basically.
And now he's a superhero.
Right. Now he's a superhero, right. And he's trying to find redemption and everything because what he thought was a righteous campaign ended up really being almost genocide. So he's trying to redeem himself, so to speak, especially in the eyes of his father, so to speak.
Okay.
Who's mortal. So have one who's a womanizer, one who's an alcoholic, one who's a narcoleptic, so on and so forth. So I mean, yeah, and it's a nice twist to it. He's our speedster. Yeah, he's right. When he's regular and everything, when he's not in his power form, is, you know, he falls asleep on a regular basis. You know, like in a conversation and everything, he may be asleep. So fastest guy out of everybody, you know, he runs faster than light.
I like that one. I think I might be able to relate to that guy.
So there'll be times where, you know, all this action is going on and everything, and you look up and everything, he's napping through it. And he's like, oh, did I miss anything? So, you know, but I thought it would be a nice little spin on that and everything. And the 8 is also basically something that has been near and dear to my heart because it's actually based off of guys who are, well, none of us are like killers or anything, but they're based on personalities off of they're based off of personalities from my fraternity, fraternal. So like these are kind of like an homage to, you know, my, you know, guys, my extended family, so to speak.
Right. People you know, and you're writing about people. You write it. Am I right about that? Yep. And then you also pencil it or ink it, or?
I pencil and ink.
Okay.
And I have an amazing business partner and a digital colorist and web designer, Alexander Kutry. He's just, you know, phenomenal. He makes visuals jump right off the page. I'm very blessed to have him as a friend, as a partner. Just an amazing guy. Seriously. I mean, like, I'm not just saying that because I've known him for a little while. He's amazingly talented. I'll let his work speak for itself.
Yeah. If you want to check it out, it's at ahrvisions.com. And your illustrations are fantastic, and the colors make it jump off the page, as you say. I mean, it's nice. I don't know much about the story though because I haven't read it because I didn't get it. I see you can get it on Comixology.
Comixology is creating the link now. We're finalizing. You know, it takes forever to get approval.
Yes, I know
with them at times, basically. Yeah. So, but once we get that link for Comixology, that'll be available on Comixology. It's available currently on Peep Game Comics. Okay. There's a link where you can purchase it. So we're going to put it on various platforms, so that, you know, people who are familiar with one platform can get it from there. People who are familiar with another can get it from there. We want to make it as available and accessible for everybody.
Yeah, I like to read it. I'm old school. I like to read them in print. I've tried to read online.
We're gonna work on the printing dynamic right now. It's a matter of getting distribution and you know, in that manner. And you know, like there's the traditional way that, you know, obviously we'll be, you know, veering into and doing some limited prints in the future. Right now we want to kind of like get the word out on the digital format and everything. But don't get me wrong, I'm a hardcore traditionalist myself when it comes to it. I love print. This is just business wise. This is a great start platform, but it will be accessible ultimately in print.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So what about the? I was really intrigued when I saw your Public Enemy. So it's called Black Ops.
Yes.
PE, and it's basically like an alternate reality where the members of Public Enemy are superheroes or black ops kind of guys.
I'm glad you mentioned that. One thing that I had always noticed with those, because they've tried, this would be their third outing, so to speak, in the comic industry, comic genre. They made an attempt back in, they made their first initiative back in the late 90s with Marvel. They did another one in the early 2000s, and this is the third gauge in it. And I think this is probably the most grounded approach to it. I was real fortunate enough to work with Sean Carter and Professor Griff, who are obviously Professor Griff, member of the group. Sean Carter is associated with the group as well, and they've been part of the group. Obviously, Professor Griff since forever. Sean Carter obviously has been, they've known.
I'm not real familiar with Public Enemy. I mean, obviously, I know who Flavor Flav is and Chuck D, and but when I heard about Professor Griff, I saw that guy on TV somewhere, and I was like, I bet you that guy's a comic book nerd. I bet he just seems like one. So,
funny, I've had the pleasure of meeting him and speaking with him a couple times.
Really?
And, he's very passionate and very straightforward with what he wants to see and everything, and okay. I respect that. And but he's been part of the group. If you ever seen a Public Enemy video and everything, he's the gentleman with beret, the red beret on, with
dude.
the paramilitary. Yeah, and one of them. He's one of them. And the S1, he's the leader of the S1Ws. Okay. It's just I've obviously been a big fan, for years. Like the opportunity when it manifests, I jumped at the opportunity because I've always, when I saw the earlier books and everything, it's that period of time where everybody had a comic book, and every musician or superstar or whatever had a comic book because they wanted to be superheroes. And unfortunately, I always felt that those were more kind of like ego stroke driven and everything, where there are rock bands or rap groups in the daytime and then superheroes at night. And my thing was like, okay, well, let's make something a little bit more realistic. Let's take their personas and build off of them. And it's more realistic because, like, I think that there are certain characters that you just don't see, throwing, like a knife or throwing knife or shooting a gun or, doing kung fu or whatever. Like, let's make them realistic to their strengths. And so, and let's get away from the gimmick. There were some of the earlier renditions of Public Enemy where Flavor Flav, for example, had like clock bombs and everything like that.
Right. That's kind of predictable, right?
Right, exactly. And it was kind of, campy to a degree and everything, and they deserve better than that, in my opinion. Okay. And so what I want, this idea, let's take these strengths, their personalities, for example, and I had the pleasure of speaking with Chuck D face to face, and I knew the man was so into his technology. So it's like, I was like, I can really play with that. And then obviously meeting with Griff and then having a chance, obviously Flav is, more of that, if you just look at the media, the spectacle, so to speak.
Yeah.
So excited, and obviously the original front man, so to speak. So what I wanted to do is like take these strengths, and I was like, okay, what if we put this in the not too distant future, knock off about 30 years off their age and everything, and make them in their like 20s and everything, put them in their 20s, early 20s and whatnot, and cater to their strengths, and like give people opportunity. Kind of those who are familiar with the group will embrace the dynamics of who they are, in terms of their established relationships and what they know up. And then people who are like this newfound audience in this genre will look at them as like, I've heard of them, but this is their first take. And for some people and everything, this will be like their first opportunity of even knowing what they are, and then getting a better appreciation with their music when people enlighten them that, like, well, they've been around for, decades.
That's neat. The reason it intrigued me was because I'm doing something similar, not for musical group, but for a fashion, a couple of fashion designers. And it's almost like an advertisement. And I'm guilty of what you talked about, making it campy and doing the predictable thing. So now you got me rethinking the whole thing, because this is what you're talking about is really cool, because they're already a musical group in real life. So you're just gonna introduce them as a comic book
entity,
characters.
Yeah.
And then if somebody gets interested in their music, then they can go to their music.
Yep.
So that's cool, man. Neat. And so they approached you about it.
You know what was funny is like I looked at the opportunity because I knew what I was doing with the studio, and I said, you know what would be great, because like I just so happened to because of it was like that I know somebody who knows somebody type of thing, that my wife knew a connection with them, and ended up establishing an opportunity to, you know, get backstage and talk with them and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And then I met the individual who was part of the group, Sean Carter, who actually came up with the concept and everything. And I was talking with him, like, you know, I've obviously seen the first 2 attempts, and I was like, I have an idea that we can get away from the gimmicks, get away from the camp, and make this and approach this like it's a brand new series, where the people in the industry, because the comic book industry, our fans are smart. Our fans are smart. Our fans are intelligent. You have to appreciate, and they love satire, but they also recognize when it's just, you know, somebody just like an established entertainer wanting to get their ego stroked on our platform. Right. And because having this renaissance of, you know, where you can take comics and everything, you know, everybody wants again to jump on the bandwagon. But I was like, you need to approach this sincerely, and you got to be sincere. You got to be genuine. Right. You can't just, you know, just introduce quote unquote brand new characters and think that we don't, as fans, we won't know that this is a gimmick or a marketing ploy or something that's PC or trendy right now and everything. Make it sincere. Make it sincere. Start off from the rip with it, or create brand new characters or concepts with it. That way, it doesn't look disingenuine. So, let's pull in, you know, like, so I threw the idea out at Chuck. He liked the idea. I talked with James Baum, who is also part of the S1Ws, member of the group, long-term member of the group, and they liked the idea. Talked with Professor Griff, and I said, you know, and we went with it and created this Zero issue that kind of like plays on the elements of that, not introducing them entirely, so that, you know, the predictable thing would be to like splash them into the group, but kind of like introduce the villains first. Okay. And kind of like play on this idea that like it's this kind of shadow entity. I'm a big James Bond fan. You know, I love Spectre and everything, which I'm looking forward to seeing that in November. And organizations like that like, you know, you're not just going against one villain, you're going against an entity. And like, you know, and I've always felt that was like much more imposing when a hero, like, you know, going against, like, it's very rare you come across like an antagonist, creating an antagonist like the Joker, for example. You know, it's very rare you know, like, you know, Lex Luthor is cool, and, you know, Dr. Doom, and, you know, so on and so forth. But I mean, like, when you think of arch nemesis, I don't know anybody who doesn't first think of the Joker. You know, like, he's like that pinnacle of antagonist. But sometimes it's great to have this entity, you know, so that, like, if you take down one, like not necessarily like high, like the Borg. Perfect. You know, like the Borg, that is like, you know, you can't just get rid of one and think that that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's a force. Yeah. And a lifestyle is a thing, you know, that you're trying to against. And so I wanted to create, and that was one of the things that I wanted to have, something that was across the board with all my villains, and, you know, and all my books and everything, that to a degree, in some form or another, they're not just going against one entity, but they're going against, you know, I mean, one individual, but they were going against this big entity. So, and then in order to face this foe, they have to unify. And then what best way to approach something like that than to like try to piece together this loose union of different eclectic personalities, which to a degree Public Enemy represents. You have this extreme dynamic with the S1Ws and Professor Griff, this paramilitary entity. You have Flavor Flav, who is just this wild card entity.
Right, which I was always curious about. How can Professor Griff and Chuck D stand to be around Flavor Flav?
But, you know, they've obviously managed to do it for almost 30 years. So, I mean, you know, like, you know, that's a dynamic and relationship that I can't even make a statement on. I mean, like, that's, and, you know, with all due respect. So, like,
right. I mean, I like Flavor Flav on TV and everything, but if I had to be around him in real life, you know, I'd be like, dude, settle down, you know.
I think you have to respect the dynamic of the man and, you know, how he handles his business and everything.
Yeah.
You know, with all due respect, I think he's got a mastery of the perception of how people see him.
Yeah.
And that's one of the dynamics that I wanted to do, because the thing is that the person you see on television and the media and what have you and everything, a lot of times is not the person behind the camera and off camera.
I'm sure.
So, and that's the piece that I want to play with and everything by, you know, taking that concept and that approach and everything and incorporating that into his character. Like his character, once people see this translation of it, it's probably the most extreme of this character that he portrays on television and in the media, that, like, you know, this guy is over the top womanizer, this guy is over the top this, over the top that, but behind closed doors, you know, he's going to be like this almost mastermind, almost to a point, this scary, you know, Dr. Doom, you know, mastermind,
takes
you know,
care of his business. And
you know, like, you look at it and go like, how the heck did this happen? You know, basically, like, when I draw this translation, you know, he's this ridiculous, calculated, you know, he's not a conspiracy theorist. He's just knows how to disarm people because of his personality, and they just divulge all this. So he has this library of information about every world leader, every business person, this, that, and the other, and like he's just this ongoing chasm of information.
Neat.
You're just like, holy crap, you know, like, I would never have this. And that's the idea of this character, that, like, he's so disarming, and so, like, he's not a
people
threat.
People underestimate him.
Yeah, he's the biggest threat in the room, because, you know, and he's not a fighter. He's not this. The character in the book is not a fighter. He's not this or that and everything, but he has this surrounding around him that is just threatening in its own right. So
cool.
I think that was a approach towards it, that, like, you know, even, you know, like, anybody reading it and everything would have this whole, wow, I would never, you know, like, you don't underestimate this guy. In the same way with Chuck D, his character and everything in the book is, you know, this ridiculous computer whiz and guru and everything like that, and, you know, able to hack into, like, almost any mainframe and so on and so forth. And then you have Griff and the X1Ws, who are like this ultra dangerous force of military knowledge and expertise and everything. And so, but how do you put all these dynamics together and everything, and then try to make it work? And this loose union, you see the internal arguments and this, that, and the other that will come up, but they still have to understand that, like, okay, we got to unify, even if it's for this, even if it's for 5 minutes, we got to do this in order to, like, not get killed in the next 2.
Yeah, right. Sounds good, man. Hey, so I want to. What's that? Sorry, what?
No. Oh, go ahead. No.
Oh, okay. So I want to ask you a little bit about yourself. You're obviously a talented artist and you're a writer, and it looks like you take pride in being a business savvy. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, because I have my MBA in executive management and marketing. Let me see. I've been around business all my life. That comes from my father, and you know, it's just, you know, if anybody was to ask me who's my superhero, that's my dad. Love my father, and one of the things is that he made it clear that, you know, you don't want to just be the talent. You know, like, you want to ultimately be the individual or the workhorse. You want to ultimately be your own man. And my father, you know, one of those individuals who worked the system and everything. He worked for a corporation for 35 years, and at the same time ran his own business. And even after he retired, runs his own business now. And you know, he's just my superhero, like hands down. I can't say that enough. And so for that, I wanted to, you know, make sure that I took the talent that I was blessed with to parlay that into an opportunity that not only put me in a position that was fiscally positive, but to also open the caveat for other individuals that wanted to do that. My philosophy is like, let's work together to get rich, so those few of us who want to get wealthy can.
Nice. And you grew up in Flint?
No. Yeah.
And your family is there?
Yes, sir. Yes. Proud son of Flint. In fact, I've been real fortunate in the fact that one of the projects I'm working on right now is with Terry Crews, and who is also a native son of Flint and everything, and has done some great things in the entertainment industry.
And Terry Crews, yes, yeah, the good. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah. I love that guy.
Right, exactly. And so, like, he's he's been me and him have known each other for years.
Oh, really?
And yeah, from like, I've known him like when he was a senior in high school and I was in middle school. We did an art project together, an art competition together with another classmate, and we won it. And then we were going against all the schools in the city. And not a lot of people know about Terry, but not only is, as an actor, but he's an amazing artist. And I was real fortunate in knowing him as an artist and everything, and student first, obviously, before he, became this, superstar.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I was real fortunate about was we crossed paths again as I've been developing this studio, and he said, "Hey, I have this project that I want to see come to fruition." I was like, "Dude, give me a chance and I'll start making this happen." And we've been working on it. I've been doing this. I've been doing tweaks here and there to it, visually, concepts to make sure that it looks visually powerful and sound and everything, because, particularly for him, because he's a friend. And I've been real fortunate that, like, everything he's been seeing, the translations we've been doing have been on point. So we're going to be talking about that pretty soon and doing some premieres with it at Kamikaze in LA and on Halloween weekend, which I'm real excited about.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully at that time we'll generate a little buzz in it and everything, and prepare for the 2016 launch of Terry Crews's. I'm not going to say the name of it, but not yet. I'm saving it for him. I want him to announce it. But, so people can see a different side to him. People see the actor and the game show host, and they see all this different thing, but people don't really see and they've heard about his artistic ability, but people don't really see the creative side of the man. Uh-huh. And I said, I'm don't get me wrong. I'm a extroverted introvert. So, like, for me to do everything and whatnot is, is cool, but this is the biggest extent. I'm not a big person. I'd rather be the person behind the scenes.
Right. Okay.
So I'm not a big fan really of, being in front of the camera necessarily. I don't mind it at this stage of it, because I want people to see about it. I want to promote it. I'm very proud of what we're doing, what we're putting together, and what we have coming out for everybody, because I want the fans to kind of have a face to it. Yeah. But ultimately, I want the people who enjoy the spectacle of the dynamic and everything to also be in front of it. Don't get me wrong. I will definitely be promoting our titles and this, that, and the other. And I want to engage the fans. But I love that one-on-one thing. I'm not a big person when it comes down to, like, I got to be in front of the camera and everything. Yeah. I'm not that guy.
Well,
I want the properties to.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. It's been fun. And you're good at it. So.
But I enjoy this and engaging with individuals like yourself who actually even take the time to even, out of their time and everything to, like, be a voice and, add more legitimacy to our industry, because I don't think we get the rep we're supposed to, that we should. Yeah. Stream. It's only now that that's happening because of the lucrative, elements that can come from it, because they see that we have a strong fan base, we have a voice, but it can't just be about the money-making attributes. It's got to be about making sure that you respect the audience and have a good story and a good story behind the story.
Yeah, and like as you say, our fans are intelligent. And
Totally.
Yeah. So, man, this has been cool. I'm a bigger fan now than I was. So, yeah. I will do what I can, man. I'm at the end of my show every time with all my guests, I have this little bit where I put you on a deserted island and ask you quick questions about what you would take on this deserted island. Like, you get 5 things. Okay? So I'm going to ask you the very first item that you take on this deserted island, since it's a deserted island, is dessert. You get 1 dessert. What would it be?
1 dessert. Oh, wow. This is going to sound corny, but pears.
Pears?
Yeah, I love pears. I'm a big fruit person.
Okay.
Pears. I mean, like it's crazy, but it's like a dessert.
You're the first person that is you're gonna survive the longest on this desert island, because everybody I've asked so far has taken like their mother's, apple pie with ice cream or something like that. You're the first one to take a healthy snack. That's awesome. Okay, you get to take one book onto the deserted island. What would it be?
Sun Tzu's Art of War.
You made me think of that earlier when you were talking about, probably, Professor Griff. Yeah, the group, the SW1. They were masters of warfare or something like that. So
I have a big martial art background. I've been a student of martial arts since like I was 8. So,
nice.
Sun Tzu is, like as far as book wise and everything, was one of the first things that my Shidoshi at that time recommended that I get. And then like after reading it the first time, and mind you, I've read it like maybe 15 times to date, and you always find something new in it. I would feel that like if I'm on a deserted island, I would probably still find something new even after, reading it the umpteenth time. Right. Like it's just philosophy. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. 1 album.
Oh God! Wow.
Only
really?
1.
Oh crap. You would think that since I'm doing a project with them, I would say a PE album, but I would have to say Enter the Wu-Tang. And don't get me wrong, I mean, like I'm a big fan of so many different breeds of music. I like Enigma. I love like that type of I'm a big person when it comes down to except bluegrass. I don't know, I can't get into it. But if I had to be on a desert island where I had to be on point for survival, I had to be in a certain mindset. And Wu-Tang's Enter the Wu-Tang, their first album will keep me in that. On guard.
You're not the first person to pick that.
Really?
Yeah, that's funny. Wow. I have to check that out because I'm not familiar with it, but
I love them too because they also have this strong comic connection and everything. They had the 9 Rings back in the day, so I love them for just the respect they have in the industry.
Right, awesome. Okay, you get to take 1 actress. Who's it gonna be?
Oh crap, dude, you're married. Let me see. All right, but since this is hypothetical, let me think. Holy mackerel! Just 1? No, just playing.
Don't be greedy.
That's 4 and 5. No. Let me see. Current or back in the day when they were hot.
Whatever you pick.
Okay, let me see.
It's your world, your island.
Good, great. See, now I'm stumped. You actually got me stumped on
That's
this
a
one.
trick question.
I know. Okay, all right. So
Especially
remember,
for a married guy.
right? This is hypothetical. So,
Just to be clear.
right, exactly. Yeah, let's stress this. I would have to say, geez, I'll just throw one out. I mean, does it have to be an actress?
I
Does
don't
it
know.
have to be? Does it have to be like a movie star, or
You got a musician? Yeah, go ahead, pick a musician.
Janet Jackson.
Yeah, okay. She's been in movies.
Oh yeah, that's right. She has been in movies, but I mean, I mean, like, it's just hands down, probably it would have to be Janet Jackson.
Yeah. Well, she's still hot, right?
Yeah. Have you seen the new album?
No, I haven't. I mean, I saw that it's coming out, but is it out?
Rather, she has some promos and everything, and she just makes. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, she's 50, but so it's crazy.
Yeah, man. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, Janet Jackson. I'm probably going to get shot for that, but yeah, Janet.
Oh, it's just tell her. It's like that episode of Friends where you got the celebrity pass. Where,
right. Exactly. Exactly.
And then the one guy actually met the one.
Right. No, I can never meet her. Right, exactly.
So hopefully you won't actually meet Janet Jackson because.
Right.
Okay, last one is you get one tool from your tool shed, garage, or basement.
Tool or weapon?
Well, you might be the first guest that I've had on that probably has some weapons. So I was.
You're right. I'm the first one you're saying that about. You might be right. It'll probably be if I can. I would probably one of my katanas probably.
A katana? What's that?
Oh, it's a sword actually.
Okay. It's
samurai sword.
Ah, good, cool. My brother has a couple of samurai swords. I didn't know that name. Apologize, but
yeah, the katana. Yeah, it's either that or maybe a short sword, maybe one of my ninja toe, something like that. I mean, I love weapons. I'm a big fan of like dynamic. I mean, it kind of anybody who knows me, this isn't a big surprise, but I mean, this is probably just like, oh yeah, they would find a sword or something faster than they probably find a hammer.
Right.
Right, so which that doesn't really help much in the house, but hey,
it's what's there.
It's what's there, right? Exactly.
Wow, man!
Can you fix this wrench? I mean, can you fix this sink? I don't know.
I could cut it to pieces.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh,
I'm
man. Wow, man! You're the first guest who's done this whole show in the car too. That's cool.
I feel like Seinfeld with coffee.
Yeah. Neat. Because I can barely drive. Just driving, I'm dangerous on the road just driving, let alone trying to drive and talk at the same time. So, well done.
Well, fortunately, it's like speakerphone drive. I mean, I'm not doing anything illegal. Fortunately, it's just so I'm not texting and driving people and everything.
No,
one of the reasons I'm wearing sunglasses so that people get the illusion that people know I'm don't see me looking at everywhere else like on the road and everything.
Oh, nice.
I haven't looked in the phone like hardly once. So,
I didn't even think of that, but it works. It's cool. Good idea.
Yeah, I gotta look cool. It's illusion. I gotta look cool. So,
yeah. This is cool. All right, man. I might have to give it a try. But I'm just going to drive around a parking lot or something.
Parking lot first. Yeah, do that first.
All right, Abdul, man. It was good to meet you, and thanks for coming on the show and talking about your stuff.
Do it again. If you don't mind, if I can throw in a couple of project plugs, is that cool?
Oh, yeah, man. Your website is great. It's got all your stuff out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, right now we currently are running a Kickstarter for Bleed 2039. Okay. We're looking to expand the platform for that, not only with from the comic book dynamic, but also create into a series. All our series are basically franchise positioned to be franchise ready. So Bleed #1 is available. The 8, obviously, one of our flagship titles. That one is out right now. Black Rose and Scorn are coming out very soon, and Rebirth. Okay. Public Enemy 0 is coming out very soon for accessibility, and the series will be launching starting in 2016 with Terry Crews's series, which obviously he'll be announcing very soon. Let me see. We have a number of female-led properties as well, such as Dynamic, and Scorn obviously is our Wonder Woman of the group and everything, but Dynamic and Furo is also another female-led project and everything, because I want people to see the dynamics, not only, you know, like from race dynamic, from gender dynamic as well, and so on and so forth. And some of our horror sci-fi as well coming out, such as War. And, you know, we have a plethora of things coming out. And this is, again, something I want the fans to really know, that this is coming from the heart. This is genuine. These are going to be fresh, new, original concepts and characters, because it's time. Now that we're on this renaissance of the industry, we really need to push this fresh new brand of diverse, creative, and fresh titles and properties, so that it goes beyond just your status quo of Marvel and DC. Nothing against them, but we need to see more of that originality.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. Cool. Okay, I'm glad you brought up the Kickstarter too, because I had that on my mind that I wanted to ask you about it, and to see if you had ever done anything like that. So I'll put a link up to the Kickstarter.
Oh, please do. We're on day 18, and we have a long way to go, but you know, we still want to make sure that we can get as much attention drawn to it as possible to make it successful.
Cool. Maybe we can come back. You can come back near the end of the Kickstarter, and come.
Oh back. Yeah, definitely. I would. Okay. I really like this, so like I'll be more than happy to.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. And tell Terry. I'll even let Terry Crews come on the show.
Oh, let him come on.
You know what? You could tell Janet Jackson too, if she wants to talk to me, she can.
See, the possibilities of Terry being on are a lot more possibilities than Janet. I'm very sure. Seeing how she has no idea who the hell I am.
But you know, I wouldn't mind talking to her.
Dude, I wouldn't mind saying hi once and she acknowledging it. So I mean, I'll probably get killed if anything.
Oh well, I think she's a great singer. So
yeah, exactly.
All right, yes. Come back anytime. It's great talking to you.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that, and I humbly appreciate the platform you're giving me. Thank you very much.